From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Welcome in now at 7. President Trump and Joe Biden are getting ready for competing town halls that begin in less than an hour. The conflicting programs were scheduled after the president refused to participate in the second presidential debate because of COVID-19 safety measures. And with only 19 days until Election Day, the stakes are high for both candidates. ABC's Andrew Dimbert is in Washington with a look at what to expect tonight.
Tonight, the presidential debate may be off, but the race for the White House is still on. Less than 3 weeks until Election Day, President Trump and Joe Biden won't be sharing a stage as originally planned, but will be competing at the same time in dueling town halls, answering questions directly from voters. Mr. Trump in Miami and Joe Biden from Philadelphia. But trailing in most national and swing state polls, the president first making a campaign stop in North Carolina as the state reports its highest single-day increase in COVID cases since March.
It's fantastic to be back in North Carolina with thousands of loyal, hardworking American patriots.
The Trump team has been racing to battleground states, hoping to close the gap in the polls to Biden. Ahead of his town hall, Trump pleading with thousands of mostly maskless voters in Iowa, where the race is tight. The Biden campaign, meanwhile, announced they raised a record $383 million in September, with nearly $500 million on hand in the final stretch of the race.
I just want to thank you for all you've done for me.
President Barack Obama, who will be hitting the trail soon, urging voters to get out and cast their ballots. Across the country, millions of Americans are answering the call, showing up in record numbers for early voting.
I'm voting early, but I didn't want to leave it to chance.
It's a full-on campaign blitz for both tickets down the final stretch, making their final pitch to voters. Vice President Mike Pence holding an event in South Florida ahead of the president's arrival, while Joe Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, was supposed to campaign in person in North Carolina. She's now doing so virtually and suspending travel after her communications director tested positive for COVID-19. Biden has again tested negative for COVID-19, and the special 2020 ABC Live Town Hall event will air tonight, while President Trump's event will air on another network, and the third and final presidential debate is still scheduled for next week. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Long lines again today to early vote in Marion County. Despite the rain in Indiana and across the country, millions of ballots have already been cast through mail-in and early in-person voting. More than 467,900 people in Indiana have already voted early, either in person or through mail-in ballots. This is according to numbers from the Secretary of State's office compiled by the U.S. Elections Project. That total number of votes cast so far is equal to nearly 17% of the final presidential vote in Indiana in 2016. Remember, the deadline to request an absentee ballot is in 1 week. For more dates you need to know, information about the candidates on your ballot, and all of our election coverage, head to WRTV.com/election 2020. Checking in now with Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory with a look at our forecast. Hey, Kevin.
Looked like fall today, felt like fall. It is fall, Amanda. Look at the temperature tumble from yesterday at this time. We're 25 degrees colder, and that transition is what helped develop the showers that we've had across central Indiana. Those are leaving to the south and east, and temperatures are getting colder. It's 51 in Lafayette and Terre Haute. Temperatures rebounded a bit north and west of Indianapolis because of thin spots in the cloud cover after the rain. We've been stuck basically in the upper 40s in the eastern half of the state. As far as rainfall, most areas had 0.2 of an inch or less. We had 1,800s in Indianapolis. That broke our string of 57 straight days, though, without 1/10 of an inch or more. You see what I see peeking out at us? That's out in Greencastle. There's your clearing line. That is one piece of the recipe toward getting temperatures very, very cool. There go the clouds. Here come the colder temperatures. First thing in the morning, you're looking at about 30 to 33 degrees to start your Friday. We'll talk about how we finish the day and the work week, as well as the weekend, all coming up.
Marion County leaders stress the importance of personal responsibility today when it comes to slowing down the spread of COVID-19.
It is so important that we have a united front, all of us in this community, to promote public health in our community and to protect our loved ones and our friends.
Marion County Public Health Director Dr. Virginia Kane and Mayor Hogsett announced the county will stay where it is when it comes to coronavirus restrictions. The mayor says Marion County's numbers have not worsened like other parts of the state, but they don't want to undo all the good work that's been done. And the State Department of Health reported 1,962 new cases of the virus today. That puts our moving average of daily cases at over 1,600. Our positivity rate is climbing as well. For unique individuals, it's now at 9.9%. The state also reports 23 new deaths of people with COVID-19. Not all of those happened in one day. Some happened as far back as September 27th. Since the start of the pandemic, 3,632 Hoosiers have died with the virus. And the governor says he will reassess the state's COVID-19 rates again in a week and stresses personal responsibility when it comes to masks and social distancing. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker spoke with an emergency room doctor who says the upward trend in cases and hospitalizations is concerning heading into these cold months.
Dr. Stephen Sample, you are an emergency room physician down in Jasper, Indiana. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing over the last couple of days, couple of weeks?
We went to stage 5, it's been close to 3 weeks now, I guess, when we moved to stage 5. 2 weeks almost to the day after we started getting together in bigger groups, our numbers started to rise.
COVID-19 hospitalizations in our state started at a high of 1,749 back in April. They went down to just below 600 at the end of June, but steadily went back up over the last 3.5 months with 1,357 COVID-19 hospitalizations as of October 13th. The statewide positive cases by day follows the same trend as hospitalizations, high in the spring with a dip in the summer, and then a steady tick upwards. Dr. Sample hopes these numbers and trends convince people to finally take COVID-19 seriously.
It's not going to blow over. It's not going to blow over when the election is over. At some point in the future, sure, it'll be gone. And I think, or it will be manageable to where we can get back to life.
As for dealing with COVID-19 during this upcoming flu season, that really worries Dr. Sample.
We're going to see kind of the perfect storm of influenza, hopefully a mild vaccine-covered influenza season. I haven't seen what influenza and COVID look like at the same time. I suspect that it's suboptimal. I don't want that, for myself, especially for our elderly, but for anybody, really.
Dr. Sample tells me getting your flu shot, wearing masks, and practicing social distancing are our best bet as we head into this uncharted territory of COVID-19 and influenza.
I think people need to really buckle down and understand that the new normal is just the new normal for a while. I think we're looking at it probably, 18 months, a couple of years.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Governor Holcomb has extended Indiana's mask mandate for another month. It's become a major political topic during the pandemic and election season. Rafael Sanchez just spoke to our WRTV insiders who are weighing in on the extension.
It is now time for our political insiders. The big issue of the moment, the governor extending the mask mandate till November the 14th. Also learning today that the state's health commissioner, Dr. Box, has COVID-19 and that the governor and members of the state health department will get tested. What do you make of all of this, Megan Robertson?
I hope people get the point. Wear your masks. We're all going to have to figure out how to do Thanksgiving and Christmas with our families staying as far apart as possible because, frankly, we weren't adults in doing the things we needed to do this summer.
I think the governor, unfortunately, in this instance, I just saw a poll where he's got a huge lead. I don't understand why he isn't doing the right thing. He knows what the right thing is. He did the right thing in March. He did the right thing in April. I'm really stunned with as big a lead as he has this close to the election that he is not going back and doing the things the right way.
Joey Fox.
Well, look, the governor has said that I think the quote was the blanket response won't solve the problem, that they're going to focus now on individual and more local outbreaks and providing additional resources where that goes. And he said, look, this isn't necessarily about the stage that we're in. This is his argument, not about the stage we're in, but about individual behavior.
The governor is protesting that stage 5, it doesn't have anything to do with stage 5, doesn't have anything to do with what stage we're in, but he's sitting in his office isolating with a mask on, waiting to take a COVID test because his health commissioner tested positive for it. I think we have to really take a very close look at Is there a correlation with the stages? None of us want to see the economy shut down. None of us want to see people we know and love get sick. And none of us want to continue on this path. But this is what we have to do. COVID is not going away.
These are our political insiders. We thank them a great deal. And our coverage of Democracy 2020 continues right now on WRTV.com.
And we did learn today that Governor Holcomb did test negative for coronavirus. Still ahead on the news at 7, a new study shows the importance of masking up, especially if you plan on traveling by plane during the pandemic. But first, WRTV wants to help you rebound, especially if you've got a family to look after. Still ahead, insider tips on how to get your family finances through uncertain times. The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to bringing you advice from experts helping your family make it through an economic crisis. Our Lauren Casey spoke to a banking expert with Bank of America, and she has 5 simple tips for your family finances during uncertain times.
So we really want to make sure that Hoosiers know that in these unprecedented times that it's really important to have an emergency fund as well as tracking your spending and monitoring things that perhaps no longer have a relevance, such as subscriptions to a magazine that may not be relevant at this time, and just really paying particular attention to what's coming in and out of the account. So think about it as putting a little something every week. It doesn't have to be a large amount every week. What's important is that you are sticking to the savings plan. So you want to make sure that the amount that you are allocating to save weekly is going to be enough to maintain your finances throughout the week. Don't hesitate to reach out to your financial institution. I think, when you think about an emergency, most people don't think about their financial institution. But when it comes to really ensuring that you're maintaining and being a good steward over your finances, reaching out to your financial institution is probably the first place to call. So we really want to make sure that customers are leveraging all of the digital means that are now being provided by financial institutions. And then let's not forget the free resources that are out there. Websites and materials such as Better Money Habits are phenomenal resources to really ensure that you and your family are staying on track.
Working for you, Lauren Casey, WRTV.
Well, we had rain today. We've got more rain in the forecast, so could we finally be breaking out of this very dry pattern? We'll try to answer the question coming up.
Welcome back. The air travel industry has been struggling with fewer travelers, but a new study from the Pentagon might encourage some to start flying again. Researchers are studying how difficult it is for coronavirus droplets to circulate through a plane and infect travelers when passengers are wearing masks. ABC's Zareen Shah explains.
Just in time for the usually busy holiday travel season, a new study from the Department of Defense and United Airlines finds there may be little risk of COVID-19 transmission while flying if you're wearing a mask for the whole flight. The study has not been peer-reviewed or scrutinized by others. The researchers say they ran 300 tests over the past 6 months, finding that when a mannequin equipped with an aerosol generator reproduced breathing and coughing with a mask, only 0.003% of particles reached another passenger's breathing zone.
I'm not standing here telling people that I know exactly what they should do. But what I am telling people is if you are inclined to travel or thinking about air travel, there is a reason today that you can feel confident that you can travel safely on an airplane.
The study only used surgical masks and not the common DIY or cloth variety, and only placed one simulated infected passenger on a full plane. More sick passengers increases the risk of transmission. But the study also reflected similar earlier studies that found a plane's unique airflow helps reduce risk. On a plane, air flows down from above each seat, not front to back, which helps limit person-to-person airflow. And an aircraft's HEPA filter eliminates 99.99% of airborne particles, including viruses, every 2 to 3 minutes. The International Air Transport Association said last week that out of 1.2 billion travelers, they only found 44 published cases of COVID-19 transmission on planes. And those were mostly from earlier in the pandemic when masks were not being widely used.
If you are flying, you should follow CDC guidelines. And remember, it's not just about the plane. You should wear a mask and socially distance if you're in the TSA line or waiting at the gate. And of course, wash your hands frequently. But overall, hopeful news for flyers. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, I think we can call these rainfall totals now with the rain moving out. I started to show you this a little earlier in the newscast, but it just zipped by, so I wanted to give you a little longer look at this. Muncie, 0.2 of an inch, 2/200 to be exact. Shelbyville, just under 1/4 of an inch as well. For some, this is the most rain we've had in almost 60 days, one way to look at it, certainly for Indianapolis. Just the pattern may be changing. At least the opportunities are becoming consistently available for some rain. We'll have a chance Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is the period, as you can see, October 23rd to the 29th. And above average rainfall expected during that stretch. As far as rainfall potential, you follow the colors, generally 1/2 an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch. And of course, this will shift between now and that stretch of days, but at least we got a chance. Well, that looks good. The golden sunset over Putnam County, and no greater definition of that sharp clearing line as the colder, drier air starts to emerge into central Indiana. Temperatures will pick up the pace as far as falling off into the 40s, lower 40s, and then 30s as the wind calms down and the sky clears. Temperatures only slightly warmer in western Indiana. 44 in Richmond, temperature in Muncie at 49. The showers are clinging to the eastern portion of the state. In the morning, as cold as 30 in Logansport, 31 in Lafayette, Marion, Anderson in there at 31 as well. Anywhere along either side of I-70 should be in the low 30s. That's why we get the freeze warning for the entire RTV6 viewing area. That's from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'd say between 9 and 10, temperatures will move out of the 30s and into the 40s. Friday forecast at noon should be 52. Afternoon reading of 58. Weekend, the chance for showers is there second half of the weekend. On Sunday, we'll have that chance for some rain. Temperatures across the state on Saturday with a mixture of clouds and sunshine at 64. The wind really increases Saturday. It will peak in the afternoon and into Saturday night ahead of the system that brings some rain on Sunday at 62. Chance of rain continues Monday and Tuesday, as I mentioned, and hoping the 70s return, they will. Wednesday right at 70 degrees, should be warmer than that as we get to Thursday of next week. That's all for now. We've got more. We'll be right back after this.
This is a fun story. A new survey is giving us a look at the most popular Halloween costumes this year for our furry friends. According to the National Retail Federation, 10% of pet owners are choosing a pumpkin costume for their pets. Now, 6% say they will dress their cat or dog as a hot dog. Other popular costumes were a superhero and dressing a dog as a cat. PetSmart says it's safe to dress up your pet this year, but introduce them to costumes carefully, and all costumes should allow for full mobility. And I know my Mr. Leo does not like costumes, but I'm still planning one for Halloween, so this should be interesting. Kevin, what's Rory going to be doing?
Oh, he'll pose for a pic.
He always does.
Rory Gregory does not like costumes either. She won't move. There's Rory Gregory looking at all the leaves that we've got to collect for the weekend. They'll be on the move anyway because of the wind. So rain ends tonight, frost in the morning.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you for the news at 11.